There is no question we live in the most beautiful, one-of-a-kind worlds out there. And we are trying everything that we can to be more sustainable and to preserve that for generations to come. Today, I have 11 things that anybody can do to be more environmentally conscious, to be more sustainable in their lives, and help preserve it, our beautiful earth, for generations to come. Hi, I'm Katarina. This is Sustainably Rooted. We talk all things from gardening, zero waste, eco-friendly tips, environmental issues, and my goal is to make zero waste living accessible and sustainable for you and your home. Let's get started. Here are 11 things that I think any person, no matter their budget, no matter their accessibility, where they live, 11 things that you should be able to do to live a more eco-friendly and environmentally conscious lifestyle. I know that it's every person, no matter your circumstances, is going to have different things. And before we even begin, I just want to remind everybody that you have to do the best that you can do with what you have. As you learn more, continue to grow and make those changes as you go. I have 11 ways for you today, but if you have more, if there's something up here that you haven't seen that saves you money and that is accessible for everybody, you think, put them in the comments. I would love to hear what are ways that you think that other people can be more sustainable, no matter their budget, no matter their accessibility, things like that. So my first one is reduce what you buy. Number one, hands down, the best way that you can help the environment is to reduce the things that you consume, to reduce what you buy, to start at the very beginning. So thinking about, would you buy it if it wasn't on sale? There's so many questions that you can kind of ask yourself before you go to buy something, but reducing what you buy is the best way that you can help the environment, hands down, and it saves you money. All right, so number two is reuse. Reuse means to kind of shop your own home, use the things you already have, or if you have a single-use item, it doesn't have to be a single-use item. You can reuse it over and over again. Maybe you have a pasta container or any other thing that comes in a glass jar, peanut butter containers in glass jars, or any plastic container as well would work. Reusing that, if you follow me on Instagram, you see that I'm reusing my glass jars all the time, over and over again. But this does not have to be a one-time use. You can use it many times and then recycle it, but providing multiple uses is definitely something that can help the environment. This is a plastic to-go container for when we got sushi to go, and we always keep these. We know that we're going to reuse them over and over again. For example, during the holidays, we pack them with baked goods and gift these out to people. Or these are the containers that if somebody comes over to our house and they want to bring food to go, this is the containers we give them. Or we also like take these with us to when we go to the bakery or when we go out to dinner, and then we put our stuff in the to-go container. So this thing that was meant to have one use now has multiple uses. And then when we're done with it, yeah, we can recycle it, but it's now had multiple uses. So there you go. Tip number 3 is bring your own container. So like I said, when you go out somewhere, you can bring like your own container and ask, hey, can you put these donuts in this container or the muffins in this container, and then take those with you. Bringing your own water bottles. I'm truly surprised that we still have plastic water bottles in a regular occurrence. I do know that there is time and place for plastic water bottles. There's a different video or conversation around that, but if you can, bring your own container, bring your own bottle of water and use your own water, great, do that. Bring your own container. It could be your coffee cup. Bringing your coffee cup and having them put your coffee in here, that's a great option. Instead of using Ziplocs, or if you're going out to eat or somewhere, you can have them put it right in directly in your container, or bringing snacks in these kind of reusable containers. Those are great things to do. So bringing your own container is number 3. Tip number 4 is learn how to mend or learn some kind of DIY. And this is, again, taking and kind of reusing the items you already have. Do you already have maybe some vinegar and water and lemon that you can make your own hand cleaner? Do you have extra fabric that you can use to make towels or like something else, cinch bags for produce, things like that? Do you have an old shirt that has a hole in it and that you can kind of patch up just really easily? Or maybe you're going to reuse the shirt to make kind of tissues or something like that. There's reusing the things that you have is such a great skill to know how to do, to kind of look at something and see that other purpose, to mend it or use it for another item. It kind of goes down the line of reusing, but again, being really specific and intentional on mending it or kind of using the scraps that you already have to make something new. Number 5 is going to be buy secondhand. Secondhand is usually always cheaper. And we're talking about like the quality comparison as well. Yes, there are cheaper disposable items out there. They're made to be thrown away, and it's cheaper to purchase that item again. Like, that's the lifestyle that we live in right now. However, things like clothing or furniture, things like that, those are great items to buy secondhand. Electronics, you can buy secondhand. There's everything. Just check secondhand first before you go out and buy. It's likely that that will be cheaper and it's better for the environment to be able to do that secondhand. So keep an eye out for some secondhand resources and ways that you can do secondhand. But for now, check your community, check your local thrift stores, things like that. Tip number 6 is swapping out some of your meals for no meat meals, reducing your meat, or swapping out beef and lamb for things like chicken and pork. And without going into it too much, that's a whole nother video. Ultimately, beef is known to have really a high impact on the environment. And if you can reduce that, that's gonna have a positive impact on our environment. Meat is really expensive, and subbing out other proteins for those is gonna have a positive impact on your budget, but also on the environment as well. So number 7 is reduce food waste. Reducing food waste is definitely, food waste is such a big issue, especially here in the United States. People oftentimes are purchasing more than they really need, and it's often then wasted. So can you plan your meals before going out to the grocery store? Can you make a grocery list? Can you use the items that are already in your fridge and the things that you already have before going to buy new things? And then when you go to buy new things, buying again what you know you're going to use. Can you use something in other ways? Kind of goes with DIY also, but you can make your own vegetable broth using some different scraps. Carrot tops can be used for pesto. Lemon rinds and orange rinds can be used in cleaners and for like kind of smell oils, things like that. So how can you reduce your food waste? So number 8 is borrow, rent, swap, things like that. Is look to your community, look to your family and friends before you go out and purchase something. Maybe somebody already has something, especially if you're only using it for one time. For example, is there a wedding coming up that maybe you can borrow a dress from somebody else, or ask in a group or community if you can borrow it. Maybe you have a party coming up and you need like serving trays and things like that. And somebody in your community already has it. Maybe a pressure washer. Instead of everybody buying a pressure washer, you can rent a pressure washer. You can borrow a pressure washer. There's tool libraries out there, and your local library also has many resources on things that you can do instead of, again, buying brand new. The community is available to kind of provide some of those to borrow. All right, tip number 9 is probably my favorite, which is start a garden. And no matter what size of space that you have, whether you have acreage or apartment in New York City or wherever, most people should be able to start their own gardens. It could be a small windowsill garden, or it could be a large backyard garden, front yard garden. Being flexible and being creative with how to do that. A great place to start are things like herbs and lettuces. Herbs are often sold in plastic containers and are really easy to grow indoors. Lettuce is easy to grow indoors, and again also comes in kind of plastic containers, especially like mixed greens and things like that. So those are great ways to start a little garden indoors. If you are interested in gardening, I definitely have many videos on gardening, and I love to answer all of those questions. I absolutely love gardening. Tip number 10 is learn how to recycle properly. Look into your area and see what is recyclable in your area. Look for other ways that you can recycle. For example, our municipal recycling does not recycle glass, and so we still collect glass because we do have a glass recycling center in a location that's easy to get to. Knowing what to recycle in your area is really important, because a lot of times people think about recycling that is going and just magically disappears and it will be reused in some way, but that's not true. Most things that people recycle are actually not recyclable, and it really comes down to your area and where you live. So check your local area. Again, I want to put a video out there about recycling and more information on what that is, how it works, and what to do, and some different resources. And that brings us to our last tip. Your bonus tip is number 11, compost. And I left it as last because I think that most people should be able to compost in some way or another. However, I do see there being some restrictions and some it being harder for certain people. Composting is using any food scraps that you have, any yard waste that you have, plant waste. It could be your hair, your fingernails, just natural waste that you have, being able to compost it and put it back into the environment. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you were able to find a couple different ways that you can be more sustainable starting today. I'd love to hear some of the different ways that you tried out in the comments. What are some challenges that you've been facing? What are some different things that have been easy for you? Things like that. And check out my other videos. Follow me on Instagram for more tips and tricks about zero waste, gardening, and all things sustainable living. And I am so excited that you've been here. Thank you so much, and thank you for being more sustainable.